What's going on, everyone? Hicksey on a podcast. Big podcast today. Today we are joined by, a man of many traits, Dave Kiernan. Dave, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going, guys?
So Dave, a lot to be discussed between you. You got your fashion line, music, football. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, it's not a lot of sleep, so sometimes.
That's what you gotta do.
Wow, yeah. The grind, holy cow.
So it seems like your number one thing right now seems to be your business you got going, Swayco, right?
Yeah.
You dropped a new, right? You just had something. You had a sale.
I dropped the sweatshirts about a few weeks ago, and so those I didn't even get the chance to put it on social media. I only put it on Snapchat, which is my personal Snapchat, nothing with my Sway social media, and I basically sold that out within 2 days.
Wow.
So I didn't even see a point of putting the website back up and paying all those fees and then paying for marketing as well.
Yeah, I gotta say, it seems like every single time I was talking to your mother, I think she came here 2 weeks ago or something like that. You had another drop.
The Shadowbox, yeah.
And it just, stuff's flying off.
Yeah, at first it didn't when I originally started last year, which is spring of 2017, and which it was kind of demotivating because I also made a few mistakes though, which I learned from never put the logo on the first T-shirt. It's probably the worst thing you ever do. I learned from lots of videos, just the way I was marketing, the way I was introducing products. I wasn't even repping myself because I was more self-conscious of people picking up on it and what's that. So I wasn't really proud of it at first because I was too scared to show people.
So you didn't associate yourself with it at all? Or?
Not really, no. So it took a little bit to associate Sway with myself.
I got that. So what's the origin? Where did it all begin? Was it did you just come out one day man, I want to get into the fashion game? Because I know there's sometimes people just kind of pick up on stuff like that. But what was kind of the origin story? How did all?
Well, I was always designing since I was about 13-ish. So I was always designing in that type of world. And so I guess one day during study hall, me and Josh Hassan, we were just messing around. Paul Gary's there, Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, Josh, I think I want to make a clothing brand. He's like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And so we just started coming up with names and stuff. Nothing was sticking. And all of a sudden I was like, Sway. He's like, oh, that does sound good. And I was like, yeah, Swayco. He just kept repeating it. I'm like, oh, that really goes off the tongue. So I did some of that. And then I hit up a logo designer to collaborate on the logo because he had some skills that I lacked. So I wanted to make it perfect. And so we put our ideas together and we came up with the logo.
Wow. And it's a good one. It's a good logo too. Sway. I feel like all the good brands, especially they one word, Supreme.
It was definitely inspired off Stussy. I definitely off that logo. I like that logo so much. But I just went over some more concepts. So I might be editing the logo a little bit and renovating it, or I don't know if that's the word, but innovating.
I like the way it rolls off the tongue too. It's Sway. I like you said before. That's just. You want to come up with a catchy name, but something simple, but something people memorize easily too. I also remember because I was in the same homeroom as you. It was that homeroom.
It was that study hall.
Study hall. And I remember you were like, "Yo, I want to come up with a clothing name." I was like, "Dude, go for it, man!" Dude, you've come a long way, man.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So you were talking about it a little bit earlier, but those first few drops you had,
they didn't do.
They didn't do good at all.
I dropped the.
How did you start by telling me how did you begin to advertise, and then as the business started growing, how did you get that brand recognition?
Well, first of all, that first drop, I wanted to do that myself, so I learned how to DIY screen print, and I watched a bunch of videos and stuff. Got all the supplies. I got some shirts from a wholesale website, and a lot of the prints didn't really come out sellable, so I have probably 20 shirts in my basement just sitting there that have messed up prints because the first 10 or so was trash. I remember I finally got that one shirt I still wear this shirt today. It's like the first shirt that was sellable. I put it on a medium tee, and I put a little dot on the tag, so like I can make sure like this is my shirt, because like this is the first like real one that I made that I was able to sell. So like after that, I started getting it down more, but still like it was hard to DIY print compared to like screen printing places. They have all the supplies and professionals doing it. So I probably lost a lot of money with like the not being able to sell those shirts and stuff, and like the quality. So I didn't really want to sell that.
So was it cheaper for you to make the shirt yourself?
In a perfect world, it would have been.
Right.
But since it was also my first time doing it, it probably would have been better if I just bulk ordered.
Yeah, that makes more sense, right?
Yeah,
I mean, what would Mr. Magus always tell us, Dave? Time is money, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
So probably, you have all those, you can make, if you could make them all by yourself, you could, but I mean, Dave you can't afford employees or anything.
No.
So that makes sense. Not yet.
Soon.
Yeah. Soon. Have you done any, I know typically the way you get it out, I see it on Instagram, I see it on Snapchat. You also have like your friends go out and they advertise it too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those, I don't even tell them to do it. They just kind of do it, which is, I appreciate that. I mean, some are people like I'm kind of like associated with, but I'm not like close with.
You're not like business partners with them.
No, it's just like people I know that like they like me. Like I try to be a likable person, because the more people you like, more customers you need.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really want to get in like hated by people, especially when you're representing multiple brands and stuff. It's definitely not a good thing. So that's why I never really associate with beef or like social media beef and stuff like that.
Right.
I just kind of lay low. So
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's actually very smart.
I mean, you see a lot of, celebrities today that do the exact opposite. They try to start beef.
yeah.
Some people.
That's not smart. I mean, because it's gonna come back and bite you eventually. But even at first, I mean, trying to start that brand going, you wanna, again, like you said, you wanna kind of be friends with everyone. You wanna kind of get everything, because if you make enemies, you can't really sell anything, So that's actually really smart.
So back to the advertising aspect, we were talking about, your friends typically get it out, you get it out yourself via social media. Have you done like a shop yet? Have you opened?
Yeah, I have a store up right. I originally started off with the store, so stuff was up there.
Oh no, I didn't mean so is it all on the internet right now? You haven't done like a pop-up shop or something like that?
I really want to do a pop-up shop. I don't have the funding for it right now.
Oh, I got you.
So I can right now I can only afford one drop, or one product per drop right now.
So how many so when you do a drop, how much inventory do you typically get?
I mean, I just the first drop was t-shirts, probably had 30 sellables or something like that. And then I remember I dropped dad hats after that. I got 40 dad hats. It was 10 of each color. And then I took that break because I was a little demotivated. And then I tried to do drop shipping, which is when you get it off of print on demand. And I tried that out. One thing I didn't like that I wasn't the middleman in it. And I wasn't setting it up myself. And I also wasn't really I couldn't really adjust the prices that much, so a lot of it was overpriced in my opinion, because you were printing on demand, so you weren't bulk ordering, so you didn't get that discount. So it was kind of hard. It's hard to start a brand and have those high prices.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. I bought one of your sweatshirts.
Yeah.
I think as soon as I dropped that, I was just all right, I have to get something. I bought something from you, and I bought something from Zach Ravelon, because those were those were the two guys that I know came out with these brands. I was like, dude, I gotta rep something. So I bought my first sweatshirt. Dave, $20 for from what I've heard. I mean, they're good t-shirt, good sweatshirts too. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not cheap. $20, Dave.
That's a lot. I'm a cheapskate, so I would buy it, but just not at that price level. So
You think that's too expensive? You think the sweatshirt is? You think?
I thought you meant. I'm thinking about t-shirts. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's actually a very good price. Holy cow!
You know how much a Nike sweatshirt is?
It's
It's $60 a t-shirt.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about t-shirts. Jesus. Wow. All right.
But Dave, redo your thing. $20 a sweatshirt. Think about that.
Yeah, that's a great price. I'm so, again, like I said, I apologize for not thinking about that before, but that is, because I I'm not really big into clothing fashion, but my brother is, and I see him going on these websites and all that stuff to buy like different sweatshirts and like different clothing brands, and some of these things are just like a t-shirt is like $90. I'm like, why would a t-shirt be like this expensive? You know?
How do you keep your prices?
I mean, so like I started like when I first got those first t-shirts, I sold them at $20 each.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, I'm like, all right, I'm not really selling that many.
Right.
And I really didn't know how to price myself. And I just, like, same thing with the hats. I didn't really know how to price myself too well. And so I started, like, really, like, seeing that, like, my target audience is cheap. Like, I started realizing, like, wait, I'm targeting high schoolers and college people. I'm not targeting, like, 40-year-olds that are, like, making decent wage and stuff. So, like, I gotta reevaluate, like, if I was like a teenager, do I really want to buy a $50 like sweatshirt? Do I want to buy a $20 shirt? Usually, I don't.
Especially something that, I mean, you're starting low right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too.
Like if it was a Supreme, maybe they'll want to drop $100, $200 on a sweatshirt or whatever. But yeah, I mean, starting low, $20. It's a really nice sweatshirt. It's good brand recognition. I remember back in the day, my dad told me this. When Bob's first started, they used to sell these T-shirts. They used to give them out for free.
Really?
They used to give these big T-shirts, and all it said was Bob's. It was this big old. All it was just a blank white T-shirt, and it said Bob's right there. It just that name recognition. That's kind of what got them going.
You gotta do that. I mean, it may be a loss at first, but you gotta get your name out there.
How much money are you losing? It probably cost them 50. It probably cost them 50 cents to a
They
dollar.
buy it in like thousands of like quantity.
Bulk. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
that's what I'm
could be
saying.
like a few bucks a shirt. Honestly, if it's like on a cheap like quality shirt and like
Yeah,
one color print.
And if you're like, hey, if you
$3 probably, or probably $2-3.
if they give it out free for like a purchase of $20 or more, you know what I mean? They're losing $1. You know what I mean? Something.
You gotta start something. That's my thing. You gotta start.
And it's-
somewhere. You
it's-
can't
I-
just go all shoot up and be like, give me like $30 for a T-shirt. You gotta start somewhere and then work your way up the ladder.
Kind of, it's a vicious world out there, Dave.
Yeah, indeed.
Especially the fashion industry. So I just wanted to say, like, you're doing a great job. Number one, I think, that's crazy. At your age, to be in high school and to own your own business, I mean, it's a feat. I gotta say.
Thank you.
I mean, most kids can't even create like a toy, not even a toy, like a piece of paper and draw it right on there.
Yeah, they can't even like come up with an idea for like a college essay or something like that. You know what I mean?
Let alone like a whole like brand and all that. That's really like that's noteworthy right there. That's awesome.
All right, so Dave, what do you think? Looking ahead, into the next coming years, what's the future of this brand in your opinion?
I mean, it's hard to like really say about like my 5-year plan and stuff like that. I'm kind of just taking it like one product at a time, setting like small goals, like with my visitors on my website and my engagements on my social media, and just kind of slowly building that up first before I like start thinking, I want to make 6 digits by next year and stuff like that.
So this is something you definitely want to keep going when you because you're going to college. You're gonna like maybe have your major be based on fashion.
I mean, I don't think I'm a major in fashion. I'm not that in depth on it. I'm still like torn between design and marketing. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm doing a marketing internship with a physical therapist next few weeks. So that's
Have you seen your project?
I'm not sure actually. No. He didn't really like say because it might be less than 40 hours. So.
I got you. It's typically, a lot of people did that. They did like those internships. Good senior project. Get you good work experience. Get you in the field at least. So right now, I mean, how many people are you like? What's your scope like? Is it just people in Connecticut? Are you shipping things out to like Massachusetts?
No,
stuff like that.
I'm shipping all over. I've had some overseas visitors.
Really?
Wow. Oh, shit. Dude, that's.
But yeah, a lot of people think it's just Connecticut, but like I have been shipping out to like Colorado, Florida, Arizona, I think there's some Michigan ones too, stuff like that. That's
pretty
cool. Just
and is it just it's people you don't know? It's just
yeah, those ones are people I don't know.
So it's like a worldwide kind of brand almost. Well, it is not almost.
Working towards that.
Yeah.
That's sick. Damn. That's awesome. That is cool. I remember I saw this is gonna be probably a future podcast, but Chris's band Mandala, and I saw like the because they are on Spotify, like the band is, and they get people in like the Middle East that listen to the music. Yeah. I'm like, holy cow! It's crazy how the internet has kind of like shrunk us.
Yeah. I may I have a bunch of relatives back home. I may tell them, hey, buy some Sway Co products. So hey, we could get that going.
There you go.
I'll be like the chief brand manager of like the Africa. I'll be that guy. Just hire me for that.
Yeah. Send some merch out there. Another thing I didn't touch on. Do you got a lot of people going up to you and asking for like free merch and stuff like that?
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I mean, I just kind of say like no.
No.
Because, like, you're not really doing anything for the brand, so like no. I mean, I'm already charging a low enough price. I mean, your financial situation's not my business. So.
That makes sense.
You don't want to be that. You don't want to be a Mr. Nice Guy and start handing. Yeah, you don't want to lose
I think
money.
he's nice enough to charge those sweatshirts for $20.
I mean, you don't want to start being a charity. Pretty much, you don't want to be a charity. You want to make money. That's the end goal of every business. You don't want to, So I do respect that. I do respect you taking the helm and just saying no, because some people would be like they'll be pressurized to just give them the merch. But like I like your stance there. That's pretty alpha.
Yeah, alpha. Gotta make that alpha move, especially in the world of business. So like we said at the beginning of the podcast, Dave has a lot of things going on. So Dave, I heard you get into the music game as well.
Yeah, that too. That's a interesting world there.
So how'd you get into that?
I've always been in the music industry because I've been doing design with cover arts and music arts there, and so I've always did it in my head, never really produced something. And then kid Brendan Miller, he already had an audience on SoundCloud himself. He had a few songs on YouTube that are got over 1 million plays and stuff. So, but he was the one that kind of taught me what SoundCloud uploading and stuff like that, and how to mix and master my vocals and stuff like that. So I would go over his house. He kind of teach me.
He does his own beats too, right?
He has some of the beats he makes himself. One of my songs he produced too. So I picked up one of his beats on a store. He told me not to buy it, but I bought it anyways because I support the friends. So
yeah, I mean,
that is just
pretty sick, right?
Honestly.
Yeah. One thing to all you up and coming rappers out there, you gotta start making your own beats. Can't do samples because you lose a lot of money. I remember I don't listen to a lot of rap. I think his name is Juice WRLD or something like that. Is that it? Did I get that right? Yeah. He came out with that. The song "Shape of My Heart" by Sting, Dave?
No.
No, you never heard of it? Okay, so it's like an acoustic. So whoever made that beat for Juice WRLD, he sampled off that Sting song, and now Sting is making 85% of the royalties on that song. That backfired. I mean, it just goes to show how important it is to make your own beats. You know what I mean?
There's a certain percentage you have to edit the sample. I think it's 80% you have to edit the sample, and by that time, it's not even close to what it actually sounds like. So you have to get the licenses for the samples and the clearings and all that. So it just depends on the artists that have the sample.
The song is "Lucid Dreams," by the way. Now that I think about it, the Juice WRLD song. That I remember the first time I heard it. Someone played it for me, and I just go, "You listen to Sting?" And he's just like, "What?" Then all of a sudden, you hear that it had it had the same exact acoustics in the beginning, and then it dropped into a trap beat real quick, and I was like, "Holy cow! It's the same exact song." And then I think it was yesterday I read, losing 85%. And that song was hot too. I mean, it was
it's probably one of his top songs.
It was just one of the top songs, just in music in general. It would stayed in the top 10, top 5 for
a long time. Still is probably
stayed up there. So most of the time, especially now, I feel like a lot of the rap songs, the guys get up Tekashi 6ix9ine. He had 100 songs get in the top 10, but by next week they're out of there. Song like "Lucid Dreams" stayed there for a couple months. So
I mean, I do get you like borrowing from your influences, but like you can't just straight up steal from them. You gotta, like you said, you kind of have to like make it your own, and then So I
Yeah, where do you draw the line as far as like taking from your influences and then
I mean, for my beats, like I don't usually produce. I probably produce like one or two beats, and I don't even think I've used them.
So that's probably something we should ask
Yeah,
Brendan Miller, because he makes his own beats. Right?
Yeah, he's made a few, but like a lot of the time it's just kind of YouTube, like a lower tier YouTube beats that like they don't really have that much like views and stuff, and so they're like cheap leases, like $15. So you just lease it.
Got it. Got it. That is kind of smart. Wish we could do that, Dave.
Our style of music, it depends. We have to actually play instruments. Right. We can't sample any beats. It's just
that actually makes sense. So how's that going? Is it when did you start?
I started about 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, so like pretty fresh then, right?
That's when I started uploading. I had this like one song I made like last year. I put it up for like a day, and then I took it down right away because I was like, nah, not the time.
Again, like you said earlier though about your like sway, kind of nervous at first putting your name on something, but once you embrace it, I feel like you'll find out that a lot of people will support you.
Yeah, I mean, when you're putting out like the type of music I am, you're kind of just putting your inner thoughts out for the world, and that's kind of a tough thing to do because like with my music, I'm not really going for more of like a trapper type of thing. I'm just going for like this is like my type of like therapy thing where I just write what I feel, and that's like I put it on a beat, and that's basically it.
Well, when you post them on your stories and whatnot, I do listen to some of the lyrics, and I could definitely tell that you're not like one of those like macho rapper who's like I'm gonna bang your mom and all that stuff. It's like you actually put some thoughts and some passion into your lyrics, and it actually makes sense and means something. Unlike these like musics you hear of today, it's just the same old recycled lyrics.
Yeah, and that kind of like that the meaning behind the lyrics kind of comes from like my inspirations for music, like Ivan B, Whit Lowry, like Nash, who else, Jeremy Zucker, like those type of people that like their songs are always about like a story or like a meaning or something. Because I enjoy like listening to something that has like a story to it, rather than like something like 6ix9ine. Like I don't like 6ix9ine at all. So it's not
I don't know who he is. I know.
Good. You don't need to know who he is. He's in jail now anyway. He's going to jail forever. So he's done.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I hear that a lot of the rappers now. I remember listening to guys like Kanye and stuff boast about how much money they got, stuff like that. I feel like they're kind of making the transition, kind of almost. These rappers don't sound as happy as they used to be. It used to be how much money you got, all the bitches you get and shit like that. But now I feel like, they're putting more passion behind it, and I don't know. I can get behind it.
That's kind of why I like the older raps. I mean, I'm not really into rap at all. I frankly hate it. But like I would listen to like an NWA or like
right. And those guys were talking about
their lives and like the stuff they went through and like their hard lives but like again, today's rap is just literally this is the formula for rap nowadays. Money, how many like girls they've slept with, how big your mansions are, how big your wieners are. It's just the same old like cycle. It's like, wow, man, we get it, pal. Some of these people are probably virgins. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't doubt it.
What?
And butters.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I want to talk a little bit. Did you used to play guitar at all, or?
Yeah, I used to play guitar. I started when I was about like 9. Played till I was about like 15, 16ish, and I mean, I really enjoyed it, but like I wasn't big on practicing it in a sense because I mean, it got to a point where it kind of felt like I was being forced to practice because my mom was like paying for lessons. So like sooner or later, I was like, I can't be doing this. So I kind of like set it down for a while, and that's kind of when like my like rapping kind of like came into play, where I stopped playing guitar for a bit, but I still had like the music theory in my head. So that's why I was able to like know the keys and kind of have a sense of what like music kind of was. And I still play my guitar like to this day, just like occasionally, and I'll even use it for like beats too sometimes. So
yeah, that was kind of what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, do you use? I mean, now that you're a musician now, I mean, I mean, some of the raps, I mean, they do have like a guitar something going in there. I was gonna say, would you ever consider using that? But I mean, you already answered my question, so that's pretty cool though. That's awesome. That's awesome.
What when you did play, what kind of stuff did you typically play?
I had like a range of things. I went through like a heavy metal phase. I remember when I was like little, I used to actually listen to Justin Bieber, not gonna lie, Jonas Brothers. Oh, not Justin Bieber, Jonas Brothers, not Justin Bieber. I don't know why that came in my head.
Yeah.
Then I had this like Bruno Mars phase where I like playing his stuff. And I mean, my teacher was more like a jazz phenomenon, so like he like really implemented like jazz and blues on me, so I have that little like a background too. But I don't know, I just kind of played stuff that was kind of groovy. I mean, I wasn't really huge into jazz. I was more into like this stuff with spacing. I love like the If I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars. I don't know why. I love playing that song. It just has a lot of spacing in it and stuff like that. So like that's the type of stuff I play. Oh, and John like Legend too, like that.
Good stuff, Dave.
One more thing. How advanced was your playing skills? Were you like pro?
What's the hardest song you could play?
Yeah.
Could play. I mean, I don't think I can play majority of the songs I used to know how to play.
Yeah, well, like at the time, like what was the hardest song in your prime years of guitar? What was probably the hardest song you think you could play?
I had a good idea of Danger Line by Avenged Sevenfold. That was like, that's a tough song because it's like, so that was a pretty fast paced song. I don't know, but
that's all right. So transition, Dave, a man of the arts, but also an athlete too. So Dave, you're doing all this stuff. You got your fashion line. You're trying to make it into the rap game. What made you want to play football?
I mean, I wanted to play my junior year. Mom didn't let me because I fractured my lower back in my sophomore year. So she's like, "Nah, you're gonna break your back again." I'm like, all right. And then like I showed her like, "Mom, I just like squatted 400 pounds. Why can I not play football senior year?" She's like, "You know what? It's your senior year. Just go for it. Fine." So then she let me play senior year, and I enjoyed it a lot. So
sounds like someone else that I know. My brother had to do the same exact thing.
Fast asleep over there.
Yeah, he's fast asleep. He didn't care. Yeah, he had to basically do the same thing. My dad was always on page for it, but my mom was worried about him. Go ahead.
Usually moms are kind of that way. Dads are usually like, yeah, go for it, pal. Like it's because dads are macho, but moms are kind of more on the caring side. It's a very physical sport. You could get injured any time. So I do get why they're a little bit protective of your kids playing football.
All right, so you're now on the team. It's your senior year. You haven't had really any. Did you play any football beforehand?
I played like backyard with you.
Yeah, backyard. There you go.
I played Madden 11 in like 2011. That's about it.
So that's about the extent of your football knowledge. Yeah. So it's your senior year. You're coming in. It's your first time ever learning football. Like, where were you? Like when you're doing training camp and stuff like that, what was your mindset at that point?
So basically, in February this year, I didn't know what corner was, and by the end of the year, I was starting corner.
Right.
I mean, Granted, Justin Marks is injured, but still, he could have thrown like Andrew Shea there. I mean, so that was kind of a huge learning curve. So, but I mean, it definitely helped doing all the passing leagues. I mean, Mafia was still like just threw man on passing leagues, so it wasn't that really coverage or anything. But like once I got into like the practices and started learning all the coverages, it started making more sense. And he started like teaching me all like the cover 3 beaters, cover 2 beaters, quarter beaters and stuff, like what to look out for. And then even looking at the game plans kind of like made stuff click. So
yeah, Coach Maffo, if anything, number one, he's a very dedicated coach.
Oh yeah.
He's doing all those. I mean, Jason never stopped really for football. He had the weightlifting for. I mean, it wasn't that much. It was only 3 days a week, only like 2.5, 3 hours, whatever. Yeah. But then like you said, had the passing leagues, had that camp. So the guys are always playing football. They're learning, and he's also another thing, really good defensive coach too. Oh, yeah. Which I think it was really good for them to get Anderson in there, be the offensive coordinator, and let Maffo really focus what he's good at, and that's the defensive side of the football. And I think you can see it on the field, Dave.
Yeah, of course. I mean, again, like you said, having Anderson there helped a lot because you said Coach Malfoy was just really good at defense, and having him there just really lightened the load for him because that guy has a lot on his plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I respect that.
All right, so training camp's over. You went through all the camps, and you started on the JV field. Am I right?
Yeah, I had like 1 or 2 games of JV.
Yeah. I don't think you guys didn't play a lot of games, did you?
No, I mean there was opportunities, but like by the time there was more opportunities, I mean I was already like kind of getting towards like varsity playing because I didn't want to go to JV because I wanted to keep practicing with varsity. So
that actually makes sense. Stay with the varsity team, stay with the varsity, get that game plan down.
You're also a senior too, so I mean I don't think you want to be chilling with the JV nerds. So.
All right, so you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but so your big game was definitely the Oxford game. You mentioned that. When did you start seeing varsity minutes, even at like a minimum level? Like maybe at like the end of the game, Coach Maffa put you in there.
yeah, he actually put me in the first game, Torrington, at the end of the game.
Okay.
I had like one good run. This is when I was a running back.
Okay.
So that's like back in the day, and I had like my one like or few varsity runs.
Back in the day, meaning week 1.
I think I ran like a. I ran buck.
Okay.
I got like 10 yards off that. I was like, all right, feeling pretty confident right now. He runs a good W jet after that. I get like stopped like 5 yards back, and they came like, oh.
So humbled yourself really quick.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the end of my running career.
So Torrington, that's your first playing time. You're playing running back, but when did he start putting you in?
It was like the
defensively.
Defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, he started me off in the special teams, like the next few games and stuff, so I could start getting like slowly into it. I mean, I think at one point I was putting like corner on like the punt return, so that kind of gave me some like defensive like knowledge and stuff. But he didn't really start putting me in until like Crosby, Wilby Week, stuff like that. So like the crappier teams, probably just
get your confidence up.
Yeah, to give me game experience just in case. So.
And just in case ended up happening when Justin Marks went down, had that bad hip injury against Ansonia. Oxford, you guys were reeling on as far as cornerbacks were concerned. I think you were the number 1 guy out there. Having number 1, Justin was hurt. James Champagne was suspended.
Yes.
And you're going up against a spread Oxford team with one of the best quarterbacks in the game. What was your mindset going into that one?
I mean, I just kept on studying that game plan and all the routes they were running. So I like at some points I kind of knew what they were running. I mean, with the simple stuff like bunch, like there's only 2 plays they're gonna run out of that.
Okay.
And like I just like all right, it's like 3rd and long one, and like they're not gonna run like the slants out of that. They're gonna run verticals, and they did. So I mean, like there's like some points in the time, like points in the game where like I kind of had an idea what was going on.
And that big play, really, that Oxford game, you guys had scored. So you guys are up 7-0. Oxford comes down the field. They're driving. It's a first down. And then it looked like they ran that vertical route on you, and you undercut it, and you made that big interception. How kind of explain like what you saw during the play and kind of like what the end result?
Yeah, that was some type of like post route he ran, or it was like a stutter type of post thing. I don't know the correct terminology, but I just remember seeing myself in film and like I just kind of stood there because I was thinking he's blocking, and he just shoots out like a post. I'm like, oh shit! So I kind of had to like book it, and I saw the ball, and I broke on the ball, and I wasn't really like aware of where the guy was at this point. I just broke on the ball, and so I kind of took like a sharp angle on it and like went in between and kind of just went up for it, and then came down, and the dude was trying to strip it out as they went down. So I was like,
yeah, hey, hold on that.
So
no, really, that was in my opinion. Watching that game, that was the big turning point because it looked like Oxford was going down without much of a problem. You know, you guys seemed to be running a pretty soft zone. You weren't trying to get beat over the top, but they took a risk there on first down, trying to throw it deep on you. You made a great play, and then you guys went on to eventually win that one 21-7. So now you're done with Oxford. Next week, it's the big rivalry game against Seymour, and you saw a pretty good amount of playing time in that one too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I saw like Not too much. It was more special teams.
Yeah,
'cause they had-
Champagne was back for that one. So
Yeah, so I think he had more trust in D-Dom with the running game that Seymour had. So I think he put D-Dom in because he's got some pounds on me, and he has a little bit more like game knowledge than I do. So I thought it was a good choice to have D-Dom in there because he's better with the tackling than I am. So
Did you again? It's probably kind of an obvious answer, but did you wish you started like way early, like freshman year maybe?
yeah, I think I wish I started freshman year, especially like because I was lifting all 4 years or gonna be lifting all 4 years. So like I was
you won like the championship for that, didn't you? For lifting.
yeah junior year. So
Yeah, right.
The
He's an animal. Yeah, honestly, he's an accomplishing machine. But I gotta say really quick. One thing that pissed me off, like with the whole for the yearbook, they didn't put you guys on was it last year's yearbook for your lifting because you guys won that whole thing, and then they put I forget what they put instead of that, but. I remember like I was talking to a couple of people like the grade.
What is it? I didn't hear this story.
this
You
was
know,
last
you know what happened, Dave?
Not entirely. So
Well, I don't know the story, but all I remember was that like I went over to Joe Kometsu's house and we were talking about like how it's bull crap that they didn't put you guys in the yearbook, even though you guys accomplished a lot for like the lifting.
Probably the most out of the entire school,
it
right?
was
Yeah.
a school record.
Really?
We set a school record for like total pounds lifted. So
And they didn't put you on there, so that really like pissed me off. I was
You know
mad.
what? I'm a Hawk headlines guy myself. So listen, sometimes there's a deadline. They have to get that stuff in.
They could have snuck it in there or something. I don't know.
But honestly, my senior year, I was like captain of the team. Didn't put me on for being a captain, number one. I didn't have a quote. Everyone else had a quote except for me. And the girl came up to me and was like, I remember looking at it. I went to the girl. I was like, why don't I have a quote? She goes, I asked you for a quote. I'm like, no, you never asked me for a quote. Like, so somehow I wasn't in for the captain. Isaiah was in there for being being a senior, and he like quit halfway through the season. Yeah. So it was, I don't know. Yes, it's high school journalism, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna like.
I'm gonna give him some slack, right?
I'm not gonna throw a fit over it. I'm just saying I appreciate if they put you guys like your like great accomplishments in the yearbook instead of some like minor like shenanigans. You know, like that's my thing. That's my philosophy, I guess. So.
well, they did write something about the lifting thing, but it was about Lauren Malinsky lifting. So that was the only one.
Oh, there it is.
How much did she? I'm not trying to like discredit or anything, but like how much did she do for the comp?
In the competition, it was 0 pounds. But
no! All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was a little tight about that, but like, at that point, there's nothing you really do.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade here or anything. I'm just saying, people who accomplish more should be written about, not like because of your gender. That's my opinion. So,
Yeah, HHL sports. We're still working on it. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I mean, that's about. Oh, one last question about the most cookie cutter question you can ask. But what was it like playing on that team? You guys accomplished so much your last year. What kind of legacy do you think you guys are going to have going forward? And just like, how was it, basically, to play there last year?
We actually, our chemistry, we started off a little rough, throughout, the first quarter of the season. We actually had a meeting with Mafo, halfway through, and he's like, what's up? Why is everyone arguing and stuff? So, we had, a senior meeting for that, and I think after that, we kind of, solved our, little problems between each other, and their chemistry got much better, and it just made it more fun. So,
yeah, and then you guys were winning. So what you're telling me, it's you guys were winning, but there was still some in-house stuff.
Yeah, there was still some bickering between people with their little issues with each other, and I mean, when you're on a team, you shouldn't leave that outside the team.
Facts, big facts.
Yeah, it's especially it's got to be tough with football. Baseball, it was. I remember when I played baseball my senior year, some stuff started to get on my nerves a little bit, but it can't be probably the extent of football, because football, it's ridiculous. It's practice. You're doing it 6 days out of the week. It starts early in August, so yeah, I can see how,
Yeah,
Happens in any relationship, right, Dave?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hey, as long as you worked it out. I mean, I look at you guys, you accomplished a lot. So, I mean, I'm glad you guys had that meeting to solve that. That's actually very smart.
Eventually, you guys are going to look back at that, and you guys are going to see how much, you guys have accomplished, which is crazy. Going from my senior year in 2017 from 1-9 to go 9-2, it's really is, pretty crazy.
Yeah. I still kind of wish we won states, though, because I remember when we first made this, passing league group chat, the first name we put was, our beginning of season was 2018 state champs. And, it got to the point in the season, I was like, wow, we might even, manifest this. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, this is, actually a possibility.
Right. I remember seeing that group chat. Jason showed it to me. I'm like, what kind of malarkey is this? But you look at it now.
Yeah, you guys proved this wrong, man. So
you look at it now. You guys fought Ansonia good, and they played Bloomfield pretty good. They lost, but they played them pretty good. And those were, you guys lost to Bloomfield and Ansonia. I would say that's anything to cry about at the end of the day.
You guys give them a battle, probably. I didn't see the Bloomfield game, but I saw the Ansonia game, and you guys give them a hard fight.
A lot to be proud of. So, Dave, got anything else? Any last questions?
No, not really. I mean,
just whatever you want. Any shout out? Any plugs? Go ahead. It's all yours.
Well, the last time I did a shout out, I forgot a bunch of people, including my girlfriend. So I'm gonna just shout out everyone because I'm not gonna do personal ones or anything.
Any plugs? Anything coming out for Soyco that you might want to advertise? Anything like that?
Make sure you're checking up with the Instagram. There might be something coming up late December, early January time, and I might, and then something in January. I'm trying to hopefully do a drop a month or something like that. So each month's got something different.
All right, so we'll post a link to everything, link to your website, Instagram, whatever. We'll put it all in the description. Hit up Swayco. Dave, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And that's it, guys. Peace.